So what we have covered so far is the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. It is mentioned in the Padma Puran about the 4 prime Sampradayas. Sampradaya means, Samprada means to hand down. So knowledge is transferred through a system of disciplic succession. Sampradayas are like institutions, or like whenever we want to get knowledge, we go to a university which is accredited. We can also get information or knowledge from non-university. Learning can happen anyways, but when you go through an acclaimed university, the chances of getting authentic information and assimilation of that information, as well as that information bringing about transformation of your heart or reaching your spiritual destination, is much better than going through an unknown sampradaya or an unknown system. So here we take a look. So all these 4 bona fide sampradayas, they are coming down from Lord Krishna. So the 4 sampradayas are the Brahma Sampradaya, the Shri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and the Kumar Sampradaya. So each of these 4 sampradayas, they have an a very prominent acharya as the personality who has set up and organized this sampradaya. So the knowledge that Lord Brahma received directly from Krishna, over the years it got transferred and transferred and transmitted, and then there was Sri Madhavacharya, who is the prominent acharya in the Brahma Sampradaya. So there is a question, or there's a thought that how did these sampradayas come about, or what was the system that was going on. So basically, like we see that around 2500 years ago, mainly the Karma Kand section of the Vedas was prominent. Karma Kand section is the section that deals with rituals, animal sacrifices, injunctions, which were used mainly for gaining material gains and material desires. So if you have attended earlier sessions, you all would remember the Karma Kand, Gyan Kand, and Upasana Kand. So Karma Kand is largely dealing with injunctions for gaining material benefits by doing sacrifices. So what happened is these injunctions were abused, especially animal sacrifices became rampant. In the name of Karma Kand, animal sacrifices was really being misused. And that's when Buddha came. Buddha, who is one of the Dasha avatars, is an incarnation of Krishna, came to stop the rampant abuse of the Karma Kand section. And Buddha came and propagated and focused on the rejection of Karma Kand. In fact, he said, reject this world only. So, Buddhism is based on the principles laid down by Buddha, and they came as a reaction to the rampant exploitation of Karma Kand. So then what happened is Buddhism picked up, Jainism picked up, and then around the 6th century, Shankaracharya came in, and he, now again, like it's all a plan of Krishna, Lord Krishna's plan, that first, whenever like there is a downfall of religion, Lord Krishna sends his incarnations. So first Buddha came to negate what was happening, and now to bring things back on track, sorry, one moment. The screen has gone off, right? Where is my document? I'm just looking for it. Sorry, my document has gone missing. Are you able to see me now? Are you able to hear me and see me?
Can hear you.
Okay, you cannot see me.
No.
Oh, my screen. Can you see my screen?
There's a blank.
Okay, there's a blank. One moment. Let me try and get the document back. Sorry about this. I found my document. Thank you. One moment. I'm going to share content. Okay, now you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I was giving you a little bit of a background about all the acharyas that came in. So we spoke about how Karmakand about 2005 years ago was being misused. Then Buddha came and spread the word of rejection of the Vedas. So Krishna gave the Vedas, and an incarnation of Krishna came to reject the Vedas. That was a temporary stopgap arrangement. So that's why Buddhism is not considered a Vedic religion. It was an arrangement made to bring everybody back on track. So finally, what happened is, after Buddhism, to bring things back on track, around 6th century, Shankaracharya came in and he said that, whatever you all are talking about in Buddhism is also covered in the Gyan Kand section within the Vedic fold. So you don't like the Karma Kand section, but what you are speaking about in Buddhism is more or less coming from the Gyan Kand section within the Vedic fold. And Shankaracharya was enormously successful. He gave intellectualized presentations of the impersonal teachings of the Vedas. Okay, so he was able to present things and refute everything that Buddhism was talking about. So people got influenced and started turning against towards the Vedas, but towards the Gyan Kand, the Gyan section. Now, after that, in Gyan section, usually the focal point is not on the personal feature of Bhagwan. So personal feature of Bhagwan means God is a person. The focus is on impersonal feature of Bhagwan, means Bhagwan is an energy, Bhagwan is light. So Shankaracharya was propagating impersonalism. So impersonalism is at least better than like Buddhism, because at least it is talking about one energy of God, if not person God. So he became enormously successful, and thereafter all the acharyas that then came in, for example, Ramanujacharya came in the 10th century and Madhvacharya came in the 12th or 13th century. they came and they gave very intellectualized versions of the devotional conclusions of Vedas, where God is a person. So the bhakti feature of the Vedas was propagated by these acharyas through their commentaries in very intellectual ways. Okay, so we see that based on the time, place, and circumstance, the different acharyas gave different progressive understanding of Vaishnavism. Is it clear so far? That if there was only one Vaishnav theory, then we would not have 4 different Sampradayas. Why are there 4 different Sampradayas? Although they all speak about Vaishnavism, there is a difference in the in the philosophies of these acharyas. Little difference. For example, all these Sampradayas, they're like, hospitals. The aim of the hospital is to cure the patient. So whether you follow Brahma Sampradaya or Shri Sampradaya or Rudra Sampradaya or Kumar Sampradaya, you will progress, in your devotional path. However, there might be difference in the medication. Some may be allopathic, some may be, Ayurvedic, some may be a different kind of a medicine. But all of them aim towards curing the patient. So there are little different philosophies in each, but more or less they're on the same lines. They're not highly opposing or, extremely contrasting philosophies. Okay, so shall we proceed to understanding each of these in brief?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at the Shri Sampradaya. You may have come across, typically Tirupati Balaji, if you've gone to all the Divya Deshams. This is like, Ramanujacharya. This Shri Sampradaya was founded by Lakshmi Devi, and the Acharya is Ramanujacharya. Okay. This is also known as Shri Vaishnav Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, or Ramanuja Sampradaya. And like the headquarter of this Sampradaya is in Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is in Tamil Nadu, in South India. And the tattva or the philosophy that was given by Ramanujacharya is called Vishishta Advaita Vad. Vishishta Advaita Vad. Okay, I can tell you in brief about this, because otherwise it's very, very philosophical. So basically this Vishishta Advaitavad, Advait. Dvait means two or different. Advait means there is no difference. Okay. This philosophy, which has been propagated by Ramanujacharya, it is non-dual. Means it is one specific monoism. It stresses on monoism. So, like actually there's diversity everywhere, right? The problem of monoism is that it doesn't account for the diversity in the world. Okay. So there are questions like, how does one become many? Or how does one reality relate to the diverse world of matter and spirit? So, anyways, this is a little very technical, so we'll not get into it. But basically, Ramanuja taught 3 fundamental categories of reality. So there is God or Ishwar, soul or Chit, and matter, Achit. So Ishwar, Chit and Achit. So he would say that, everything is one. God is the creator. God sustains both the souls and matter. Soul and matter are dependent on God. And so basically he was speaking about the oneness. Although there is a difference between God and matter and the soul, ultimate reality is considered one. So it is called Vishishta Advaita. Shankaracharya propagated Advaita, means mono, like impersonalism. There is no separate God. Everything, we will also go and merge in the light. We will all become one. That is Advaita. But here Ramanujacharya brought in Vishishta Advaita philosophy, which is specific monoism. So he did acknowledge that there is God, soul, and matter. So as you see, this is the on top, that is the typical tilak. Each school, like they have a uniform like that. Every sampradaya is set apart with the tilak. Each of the tilaks they have been designed very meaningfully. So when we take a look here, this picture, as you see on the top left corner, is the self-same body of Ramanujacharya. If you have been to Sri Rangam, you see this deity behind, that is the body of Sri Ramanujacharya, which has been preserved and which they say, like, the nails and still continue to bow. Body of Ramanujacharya. Rama Anuja means who's the Anuja of Ram? Lakshman. So Ramanujacharya is said to be an incarnation of Lakshman. Below is a picture Sri Rangam, which is the headquarters of the Sri Sampradaya, and here it's a very big temple town with 7 major gates, and you will find Sri Rangnath Swami as the main deity. I have a reference picture how the Sri Sampradaya puts on the tilak, and the golden top lower right picture is the Garbhagudi of the main temple, and in which Ranganath Swami resides. Next we go to, one moment. Oh, one slide has gone missing, sorry. But on the same lines, if we see, the next one is Madhva Sampradaya. It is Brahma Sampradaya, sorry. It is also known as Madhva Sampradaya. And it is founded by Brahmaji. The Acharya in Brahma Sampradaya is Madhvacharya. And the headquarter is at Udupi in Karnataka. And the tattva that is followed by the Brahma Sampradaya is Shuddha Dvaitavad. Shuddha Dvait. Purified dualism. So I think right now, since we are just acquainting ourselves with the basics of these sampradayas, we'll not get into what exactly the entire philosophy was and how it was different from the others. But I would just like to mention that it is purified dualism, Shuddha Dvaita. So we had Advait, Vishisht Advait, and now we're looking at Madhvacharya in the 12th, 13th century, who propagated Shuddha Dvait. And here we have, like, if you see, this is a temple of picture of the Udupi temple, and now you can see the picture here of Madhvacharya. If you see, you can usually recognize him through the paintings and pictures, because you will see he has put up 2 fingers. 2 fingers they symbolize the Dvaita. Dvaita means two separate, not Advaita. It's not one, it's two. So he is propagating Shuddha Dvaita. And just for a reference is the Tilak, like this is a pontiff here of Pejavar Mutt, which is in the line of Madhva Sampradaya. And I just have a reference picture for the kind of tilak that they wear. Okay, so then moving on to the next one, we have Rudra Sampradaya. So in Brahma Sampradaya, this Madhvacharya that we spoke about, he is considered to be an avatar of Vayudev. His birthplace is found near Udupi, and he is considered to be an avatar of Vayudev. So all these personalities, they were not, they were extraordinary personalities, and in the biographies of their life, you will see the extraordinary feats that they could do. We move to the next one, which is Rudra Sampradaya. Rudra Sampradaya has been founded by Shivji. It is also called Shiv Sampradaya or Vishnu Swami Sampradaya or Vallabha Sampradaya. You may commonly know this as Pushti Marg. So we have a lot of our Gujarati friends who follow Pushti Marg. They go to Haveli, right? So that is this Rudra Sampradaya, where the Acharya was Vishnu Swami, and later, he was considered an avatar of Rudra, and it was later revived by Vallabhacharya. The headquarters is in Nathdwara, and again the tattva here is Shuddha Advaitavad. Shuddha Advait, purified monoism. The next picture here, we see here Vishnu Swami on the top left, and then we also have Vallabhacharya, and this is the Srinathji temple at Nathdwara. This is in reference to the Rudra Sampradaya. Okay, and then we look at the next one, which is Kumar Sampradaya. There are 4 Kumaras. They are the sons who were born out of the mind of Brahmaji. They were very intellectual, and 1 minute. I'm so sorry, there's an error in this slide. Do not refer to this slide because it has not been updated. I'll take you to the next so that there is no confusion, but you can, I can just I cannot show you the slide because I don't have the correct slide, but I'll just tell you all that this Kumar Sampradaya is also known as Nimbarka Sampradaya, Nimbaditya Sampradaya, or Sanakadi Sampradaya. These are the different names by which they are known. It was established by the Kumaras, mainly Sanak Kumar, and Nimbarkacharya. As see the 4 Kumaras you can see in the top left picture, and Nimbarkacharya, who is on the top right, he is considered an avatar of Sudarshan. Now you can see that he has 3 fingers that he is denoting. So the philosophy that was propagated is by the Kumar Sampradaya is Dvait Advait Vad, monoism and dualism. So basically, if you see the 3 fingers that Nimbarka Swami is holding up, that is basically, 1 moment. So basically, Madhvacharya was holding 2 fingers to indicate Krishna and Jiva, because Shankaracharya said that everything merges, but Madhvacharya said no, Krishna and the soul will remain separate, they will not merge. And now here we see Nimbarka holding up 3 fingers, which is basically related to Brahman, Chit and Achit. Again, this is related to his philosophy of Dvait Advait, monoism and dualism. Okay, so just for us to in future quickly recognize, you can see that Nimbarka Acharya is shown holding up 3 fingers. Okay, now let's understand what's the scene with Lord Chaitanya and ISKCON. Okay, so basically, if you ask now, okay, maybe I should ask you all now that your mics are all unmuted. You all can tell me, are you already following any sampradaya specifically out of these 4? I'm not going to change my screen, so just I can't see if you're typing. You can just unmute and speak up. Are you following any of the 4 sampradayas?
No.
I am following ISKCON Sampradaya.
Okay, we'll come to that. But other than the ones, I mean, the 4 that we discussed, so Shri Sampradaya, Nimbark Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, or Rudra Sampradaya. Anybody following these?
No Sampradaya.
Nobody as such. Okay. So there's usually, now let's come, this was all theory, right? So we just acquainted ourselves with the 4 Bonafide Sampradayas mentioned in the Padma Puran. Now coming to the practicality part of it. So we all agree that, knowledge and bhakti rather, not knowledge. Bhakti is, it cannot be restricted only to 4 sampradayas. It doesn't mean that if somebody is not following these 4 sampradayas, that, they will not make progress in bhakti, or they will not achieve any spiritual goals. Bhakti cannot be restricted only to these 4 sampradayas. However, these 4 sampradayas are like the standard ways. They're not the only ways, but they're the standard ways. As we've been learning about Vedic religion and the Vedas, they are very inclusive and progressive. So that means that they are inclusive, means what, like, let's say in the Vedas also, there are many personalities described, right? Some Puranas glorify Shivji, some Puranas glorify Devi. So like that, then there's a confusion, right? Who do I follow and what do I do? So it is very inclusive. So somebody is not inclined to worship the supreme absolute Krishna and they feel drawn towards, let's say, Shivji, or let's say Vishnu, or any other Devis, then the Vedas have a provision that wherever you are, you can you can make progress from that path. Okay, so it is very inclusive. Similarly, but however, if you follow bhakti to Krishna, then that will take you to the highest destination, and the it will take you to the highest destination, and it is going to be the fastest way ahead. Let me just expand more on that. So basically, the question is that, how do we choose a sampradaya? Or if we are not following any sampradaya, what happens? Or if we are not into Vaishnavism, these were the 4 Vaishnava sampradayas, right? They are talking about devotion and philosophy that of bhakti that will lead us to Krishna, to Vaikuntha. However, there are people who are Shaivites, and some people are worshipping maybe self-made some gurus or any other personalities. So what happens to them? So again, first point is that those who are not following Vaishnavism, those who are following worship to other demigods, they will make, those Vedas or those scriptures which help them increase their love and devotion towards that personality will help, get them into more regulated lifestyles or move more towards the mode of passion or goodness. So like tamas se rajas se sattva gun. So the scriptures are very inclusive and progressive. So whatever you like, whatever interests you, you can start there if you like. It may take you longer, but if that's your interest, there is something for everybody. So it's very inclusive and progressive. So आप जहाँ हो वहीं से आप progress करोगे. However, if one, so there is like karma kand, there's gyan kand, karma kand for those with material desires. So when somebody is following the Vedic rituals of karma kand for material gratification, so they will get whatever material desires fulfilled. And once that keeps happening, then they will start realizing that no, material happiness is very flickering, it's not satisfying. And then they may detach from material and inquire about the absolute truth. So they will look for something beyond material things. So with that, when they come to that stage, they may choose to go, take the words of the Gyan Kand section of the Vedas. The Gyan Kand section of the Vedas will help them focus their energies into inquiring about the absolute truth and detaching from material elements. So when they do that, they will come to an impersonal conception. Gyan Kand usually talks about impersonalism. It does not, it just talks about soul, and you are not the soul, you are soul, you are not matter, and merging into Brahman. That is the philosophy of a Jnani mainly. So when one gets deeper into Gyan, definitely they will, get a very sense of peace. They will not be as bewildered as they were when they were in a material mindset. But they'll be peaceful, but they'll still find something is missing, and it'll be very dry because, just like simply merging into a light is not at all exciting compared to, interacting with, let's say, Krishna, who's, full of qualities, full of emotions. That is any day more fulfilling and more joyful. So here, what I just described is, Vedas offer a very progressive plan. So, right from materialism to personalism, or, moving on the path of bhakti, there is a transition, and anyone can join at any level and move on from there. So the question is that similarly, now in which sampradaya to choose, or if I am not in any sampradaya, will we not have a chance? So again, it is very inclusive. So sampradayas are meant to help us develop devotion. Okay, but they're like institutions. But it also depends on the person. Just because you are in a sampradaya and you only are going by the form, but you are not paying attention to the content. So a lot of time that's what's happening. Like if you take a look at 1 or 2 generations prior to what we have, the younger generation now, they would follow whatever was being followed out of tradition. So, if somebody is following a Sri Sampradaya tradition today, it may be high chances because they were born in that family, because their parents were doing it, because they told them to do it, they follow it, they did it. But eventually, if you only take pride in the fact that I am a Sri Vaishnava, but you do not know the theory, you do not implement the theory, it will not elevate you. It will not automatically, just because you are from a particular sampradaya and you put a tilak of a particular sampradaya or a few rituals of that sampradaya, doesn't automatically elevate you. So not only is having a sampradaya important, but also, understanding and following it. And also, it's not that anyone who's not connected to a sampradaya has no hope. Like I mentioned, bhakti cannot be restricted only to these 4 sampradayas. They are not the only ways. However, they are tried and tested standard ways. They're safe and authorized ways. So bhakti is not barred for someone outside of these 4 sampradayas. But whether bhakti is properly accessible or not to someone who is not in the 4 sampradayas is debatable. So, like we see with today's generation who are not interested in spirituality. The reason for that is that they are earlier it was cultural roots, family or tradition, and people wanted to continue that. If it gave them sufficient motivation to practice it all their life. But now, without having answers or without having accessible philosophy, the younger generation does not connect with any of this. And it's an observation. Usually when you go to the temple or any local temple or a standard, if you go to, let's say, any temple, like any of these dhams also, if you go to, let's say, Sri Rangam or Udupi, you will mostly find grey-haired religious. Sorry? When you go to these temples, you will usually find people who are more from the senior category, right? Not so many from the youth. However, when you visit an ISKCON center, you will find it is like expanding with youth and modern individuals from the modern race. So the difference, again, it's not like only propagating ISKCON. It's like I said, any of these sampradayas, if anyone follows it deeply and purely, they're sure to progress. However, there is something very special about the sampradaya that is followed by ISKCON. International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, is in the line of Brahma Sampradaya. Okay, Brahma Sampradaya was mainly propagated by Madhvacharya. However, like I said, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya were presenting highly intellectual versions of devotion, of the conclusions of the Vedas, to counter-effect the impersonalism that had been brought about by Shankaracharya. So they were not really talking about the sweet pastimes, like they were not talking about the high rasas of devotion. So, so for people, for jnanis and impersonalists, if you say that, oh, the little blue boy, he is the absolute truth, he is the absolute, the final conclusion of the Vedanta Sutra, they would not have accepted it. To them, it would seem like, very mundane, like Krishna's pastime may seem very playful, romantic, immoral. It may seem very mundane, and it would not appeal to the intellectual impersonalists. So then around 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya, who you see in this frame in the center, he appeared, and this was in Bengal. Again, Lord Chaitanya is a scheduled incarnation mentioned in the Vedas, mentioned in Bhagavatam, in Mahabharata, and other scriptures. So he appeared, and he, he established the path of bhakti. And the, Krishna Bhakti was widespread and awakened by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around 500 years ago. So it was like, the socio-cultural and socio-intellectual population was earlier not ready to receive these, advanced understanding of Krishna. But then, like progressively, first Buddha, then Shankaracharya, then Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and over time now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago. And, Krishna Bhakti always existed, but it was not highlighted by the earlier acharyas. They did not deny it, but they did not even highlight it because their purpose of giving their commentaries was much different. So finally, Lord Chaitanya, what he did is, he took two essential teachings from each of the Sampradayas. So like we see in this slide here, from Madhva, I will take two essential teachings, which is the complete rejection and defeat of Mayavad philosophy. Mayavadi philosophy is that impersonal philosophy where they say that, we will all merge in the light coming from, God is light. And he also accepted service to the deity of Krishna. Then from Vishnu Swami, the sentiment of exclusive dependence on Krishna and the path of Rag Marg or spontaneous devotion. From Ramanuja, he accepted the concept of devotional service unpolluted by karma and gyan and service to the devotees. And from Nimbarka, the necessity of taking shelter of Srimati Radharani and high esteem of the gopis' love for Krishna. So basically, he took two elements from each of the four Sampradayas and he created a very complete sort of a package, which is called the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So it's an offshoot of the Madhva Sampradaya. So ISKCON basically comes under, if you see here, there's Krishna, then there's Brahma, then there is Narad, Vyas, and then can somebody tell me who is that personality after Vyas? Holding up two fingers. Two fingers.
Madhvacharya.
That's right, Madhvacharya, and then followed by the various other acharyas. So parampara is going on and on and on. And there you see the last one down below, lower left, that is Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of ISKCON. So whatever information has been coming down has been, and of course we missed Lord Chaitanya in the third zigzag. Lord Chaitanya is there. Yeah. So, right. So ISKCON is like God, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And you will see here that it attracts a lot of people. Like, we have, in our movement, we have so many people who are engineers, who are students, who are even from other sampradayas sometimes, who have been born in a Vaishnav, Sri Vaishnav Sampradaya maybe, but they did not have accessibility to all the philosophies or forums to discuss and get answers. They didn't have intellectually people who are intellectually, who can do a blend of science and spirituality. And, there are support system, educational forums. So you will see that a lot of youth or anybody basically who's looking for meaningful understanding of the Shastras or of religion, they are able to, and many other Sampradayas are also doing work in this on these lines now, because it is realized to be, a need. Otherwise, the current generation will totally alienate and move towards materialism, which is already on its way happening. So that was a brief introduction to the four Sampradayas and to the Brahma, Gaudiya, Madhva, Vaishnava Sampradaya that ISKCON follows. So with that, I come to an end.